one of the things, so today, you heard the introduction, so I run the company. But the talk today is not going to be about my entrepreneurial venture. The talk today is going to be about what defines me as a person and what happened in my life, which I call the biggest battle of my life. That battle has been going on for 17 years now. And I want to talk about and share a deeply personal story which I have not yet in so much of detail. The story has been covered in multiple newspapers, multiple dailies, and I've been on a radio talk show and talked about it, but not obviously in the greatest lens of the personal facts that I went through for 17 years and how it changed me as a person. And because of how I am as a person now, that defines every decision I take, including running my own startup. So I'll start off with a bit of a teaser here. You would be thinking, what is a Michael Jackson performance doing in a TED performance? And I'll come to that, eventually, and you would understand why. But like in any good story, let's go into a flashback first. I met Nidhi when I was in campus in 2004. I used to look much like a lot of people sitting in this room. We got married in 2005. This poem kind of explains, what I felt. While in 2004 I was not writing poetry. I didn't know how to write back then. So let me read this out. They had to stop this ceiling, cut off this fire. It wasn't meant to be a disaster. Ignoring this burn, but the ship had left the pier, and the hearts were beating faster. The cold and the you don't mean anything look. The eyes lied every time but this once. Even though good actors buy the book, every play has an intermission and an end. It was more than love, it was mad passion. Many unsatisfied lives, many unfulfilled promises. They were meant to meet in this fashion, to crazily burn together and turn into ashes. So I started writing poetry close to the time my struggle began, which was in 2009. This looks like a regular picture, but if you look at it more closely, you will realize that Nidhi is in the hospital, and this was the beginning of 2009. What we thought was a vertigo turned out to be something more severe. So we consulted many physicians. Eventually the MRI showed us that there was a gold-sized tumor sitting on her medulla, which is a small brain, which was leading to many problems like eyesight, walking problems, speech became a little slurred. So the solution was to get into a brain surgery, which is a critical operation. Me and the family kind of got a death notice. We didn't know how to deal with it. So we went to this hospital in Bombay, one of the best neurosurgeons. So while we were afraid, Nidhi was not. So for Nidhi, the problem was the tumor leading to problems in her daily life, And for us, it was a problem being in the hospital. For her, it was a solution to being in the hospital. So that is the kind of spirit that we always had. And the surgery went on. This picture is after the surgery. It was a 5-hour surgery. It went on well, but they could remove only 80% of the tumor. So, and in such cases, you have to go through radiation and chemotherapy. So they were the very difficult 9 months of our lives when we were going through this. But we were not the support system for her. She was the support system for us, and that's how we dealt with the problem. So I remember before the surgery, I was staying with her. I couldn't sleep that night. In the morning, they were taking her to the operation theater. So you go to a lift, they roll the bed into it, and then they take you to the surgery room. My father and her father, met us at a point, and like you would have seen in the movies, there is a huge big door, and they don't let you go beyond that door. So we were stopped there, and suddenly I couldn't say bye. I didn't know if I would see her. And then when she realized, when they were taking the bed in, and I was standing there because they had stopped me, she realized that we were not there. So she lifted her head, gave a big smile, and gave a high thumbs up in the air. So that was the kind of spirit, and that was the kind of fighting spirit that she had. She was going into a major surgery, but she was the one who gave us strength. So, I don't think of myself as a strong guy, and I don't think I am. But every problem that came to us in those 9 months, and then subsequently, I just kept on fighting. I just didn't give up. But there were many questions that came. Is this the right protocol? Is that the right hospital? Did I do good by leaving my job? Should I have kept earning? So there were these questions. But I realized that answering those questions, thinking about why me, is not going to be the solution. It's going to take my mind off the problem. So then I kept fighting. And I did this slowly, one step at a time, kept fighting, and then the magic started to happen. So one thing after another, there was support which would come in to us. We realized that the treatments were working. It was a very, very difficult journey. But eventually, it started to make sense. So this is again a picture at the hospital. She likes to go out. This was a favorite spot. After the surgery, she was in the ICU for close to 10 days. And then she was in the general ward. This is a photo from the general ward where she was again for 2 weeks. She would stand there and look at the world outside every day, wanting to just leave the hospital, get better and go out. One of the times when she was not very well and she was admitted, that is the time I wrote that poem. In this war I was afraid to lose it all. Your glow dimmer, your face a blur. Was praying it was just a bad dream, hoping I will wake up, find you sleeping next to me. I never woke up, I could not sleep. Your body fragile, eyes could not see. Your voice in the midst of sudden chills, inquiring whether I have been having my meals. The bruised body holds a beautiful soul. Inconsequential moments are precious than gold. So she was having very low BP then. She was shivering, and the only thing that mattered to her was whether I was eating properly. So one story, in between she was having an issue with the foot drop, which is because the nerve was affected. So she was on a wheelchair for quite a bit, but she always wanted not to use the wheelchair. And there was this one time we went to a mall, and she refused to sit on the wheelchair. So she was walking ahead. I was holding her from the armpit, like this. So we were like, you would do the train dance in the shadi. We were walking like this. I was like holding her, and I'm sure we were looking, strange walking like that in the mall, but we didn't care, frankly. What mattered to us was that she wanted to do her shopping, and what mattered to us was that she should get a regular way of life. She saw a store, her favorite store, and she wanted to shop something from there, so we walked in the store like this. We could not shop anything because it was a ladies' store, and they would not allow me inside the ladies' room. So with all the problems that we had, it is perfectly fine, by the way. And the idea of that short video was to come to this one. There's this song by Michael Jackson that he says, "I'm a lover, not a fighter." I used to think like that. I used to think that I'm not a fighter. And then I saw, and then this all happened, and then I realized that I actually am one. And then I saw this interview of Keanu Reeves, where he says, if you can't fight for your love, what kind of love do you have? So that's what Keanu Reeves said, and I feel that, that kind of resonates with me. So it's not just about the love that you have, it's also about the work that you are doing, your family, whatever you want to build, whatever you're passionate about, be it swimming or working out. I think you have to fight for your love. You have to fight for your space. And that is when the space becomes yours. But fighting, we all have our own problems we have to deal with. And I know we fight. But it's also important that we fight some, we dance some, we fight some more, we dance some more, and some more. So basically, don't forget to enjoy. Life is not just about, we keep doing what we have to do, but we need to take that moment off our work and enjoy. So here we are, coming back to why I showed the video. We were completely uncoordinated. We had practiced only a few weeks. You could see that maybe is, because her balance is still not okay. She's wearing glasses not because of the dress code, but because the light, she's sensitive to light. But if you see the smile, so what was important for us was not to be perfect over there. What was important for us was to enjoy ourselves. After this dance was over, everybody was shouting once more, and a few people, uncles and aunts, came with money in their hand, and they wanted to give us money. So that moment was special. I wanted you to feel that moment, and that's why this video there. I will just spend some time summing up a bit of what I said. So when we go through problems, and when I was going through my problem, writing was what helped me. I started writing poetry, I published my book, I wanted to write that story forever. I could write that story, but I was writing because I wanted to deal with the problems, I wanted to deal with this. So that 1 hour every day that I used to write would take my mind away from the problem. It used to bring me back to zero. It is important for us to come back to zero at times. And coming back to zero means that you are not thinking about anything else, or you are thinking about something else, or you are not thinking, even when you are writing, you are like connecting to some higher force out there. I don't know if I write good poetry, but my idea is to write so that I can express myself. And whether it's rhyming or not, whether it's necessarily a category of poetry or not, but the emotions in that poetry is real. Everything that I've written, all the 3 poems and several others, are all expression of what I've felt. No matter what problem you're going through, believe me, it's not as complicated as it appears. For Nidhi, for us, the surgery was a big problem, but for Nidhi, that was the solution. So it was not as difficult as it was appearing to us, but for Nidhi, it was very simple. Tell your questioning mind to take a walk sometime, because some of the problems is our logical thinking. While we should be thinking logically about solving a problem, we should not be logical all the time. So, and the questions that come in our mind creates more problems than good. So at times, tell your questioning mind to take a walk. Give in to what's happening in the universe, but never give up. We do not have all the answers, so keep searching for it. And do not get burdened by the big problem. Identify smaller problems from those big problems and solve those smaller problems. Fight a little more, but keep walking. The most important thing is to keep walking, keep moving ahead. Magic happens there when you don't give up. I have seen the worst of times in the last 17 years. I've seen the worst of times, and I think for that I need another talk, but with the worst of times, I've always seen the best of miracles. So, for me, life is very magical. And for Nidhi too. So we've been through a lot of problems, but we've seen amazing magical things happening around us. And last, the dance. Remember to have fun. Have a childlike enthusiasm towards life. We are all born to shine, and life is our stage. So I would request all of you to shine on. I would end the talk with this poetry, which resonates what I think about life in itself. The horizon, distant and endless, reminds of the emptiness within. The night sky, million shining stars, many people around, yet you stand alone and far. The sea, powerful, mysterious and deep, like the layers to be peeled off to be free. The cold wind, sound of the wooden wind chime, like there's so much to say but words don't rhyme. Life, death, destiny, free will, et al. The random events follow a pattern after all.